My name is Peter Takács. I'm professor of piano at Oberlin Conservatory of Music, and I've been teaching here for many years. Actually, this year was the end of my 40th year of teaching here, so I've been here a long time, but I enjoyed it. You know, it's a wonderful school, and it's a great place to grow and to ask good questions and to teach talented students. Kind of a gradual thing, you know, with Beethoven. I mean, I like all the great composers, you know, starting with Bach, ending maybe with Bartók and beyond. But I always studied Beethoven sonatas when I was a kid. I started with the easier ones, I did the Pathétique and so on. And there was a certain point in the 90s when I had learned about half of them. So at that point, I kind of decided that I would just go all the way. You know, it was a real decision, you know, I didn't have to do it. And once you decide to go all the way, then you have to do the Hammerklavier and all the late ones. So it's a big decision. But yeah, Beethoven was always close to my heart, you know. I mean, he's a symbol of so many things, you know, of somebody that suffered a lot and had a lot of issues and problems, but his music and his art always carried him through and helped him to survive. The other thing that's amazing to me about Beethoven is his evolution, you know, from the early period when he was very classical, although even then he was stretching the form, the classical form, especially sonata. And as he went through the middle period, which includes the Appassionata and the Waldstein sonatas, where he was writing huge pieces like Fifth Symphony and so on. His development as an artist is really inspiring to me. And so I think I've developed some techniques that help. For example, you probably, Yifan, you know, playing the melodic line of a certain phrase, it really helps you to get a feeling for the shape. So that has to do with phrasing. Understanding the harmonic structure. And so I developed something that's called, I call it an X-ray of the music, where you get the harmonic, not necessarily all the notes, you know, like if you have something like that's a nice accompaniment, the Chopin Nocturne, something like that. But basically you're just dealing with D flat major, right? So to be able to maybe reduce the amount of information to the basic elements, like the harmonic progression, going from here maybe to, you know, instead of that's a modulation, but reduce the number of notes to the basic ones. And then you have a melody, maybe okay, so you have melodic line, you have the harmonic underneath, and that creates a kind of a reduced structure. You get through the many, many notes that you have to play. Sometimes there are a lot of notes in Rachmaninoff or in Ravel, very complicated, and we can get a little lost in the notes. So I like to be able to get more to the fundamentals. I really found that opportunity to be completely exciting and stimulating for me, you know, because I've played, it was a, I'll tell you how it came about first, because one of my former students called me and asked me if I would play the 32 sonatas in New York. And I thought about it and I decided it was too big. You know, it would be at least 8 recitals. Some people do it in 10 recitals. So we kind of negotiated this 3-concert cycle, which is early, middle, and late. And the other part of it that was wonderful was playing chamber music with really incredible musicians, you know. And of course, playing in Carnegie Hall is, like you say, it's pretty much at the center of the musical universe of this country, or maybe the world, for all I know. I did play in the recital hall, which is a smaller hall. Fantastic location, you know, the acoustics are great and it's very beautiful. And it seats about 300, so it's small and intimate. So, I mean, the issue for me was, first of all, finding the right repertoire. So there'll be a variety of things, and finding the musicians to play chamber music with. And then the work was, I was just extremely motivated because you're being presented at a very high level. And I knew there would be reviewers there, so you feel like you really have to put your best foot forward, as they say in English. So it was a high point of my life in many ways. I mean, I have played there a few times before, but this allowed me to put together everything I know from my teaching and from my playing, spending my life in music. I really felt like it brought all of my knowledge together for this very climactic event, you know, playing at Carnegie Hall. Well, I had this unfortunate accident, you know, I fell and I broke a bone. My hand, it feels better. It's got a scar here. And I think it's going to take a while to feel completely normal, you know, because surgery it just changes the way your muscles are put together and so on. But I think it's going to be okay. So thanks for asking.